Hello, guys. Me, Butterfly Spirit 314. So, guys, let me turn my sound up just a bit. All right. I got the air conditioner going in the background, so hopefully y'all can hear me all right. So, guys, the title of this video is Don't Stop Growing. And I believe in this. And here's why. I believe in this because I was just thinking a few minutes ago about how, I wish like years ago that I would be doing the things that I'm doing now. So, right now, I'm in chair dancing, involved in doing yoga, okay? I'm involved in doing pole dancing, twerking, just like things that I enjoy doing, like to move my body, okay? I'm involved in these particular things. I'm involved in reading as well, like to grow my knowledge and things like that. I like going to events. So I will go to events and stuff and everything like that. And, the reason that I'm saying that don't stop growing is because I've done this personally. I've been the type of person where in the past, I stopped growing at a point in my life. And I stopped growing because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I thought I thought that what I was supposed to do was that I was supposed to put all my attention into a relationship that I was in at the time. And the reason I felt that way was because pretty much it's because of what I grew up seeing. Women in my family, um, you know, your goal was to, get married. My mom talked to me about how when she was growing up, that the women in the family learned how to cook and clean and sew and different things. I also enjoy sewing as well, if I haven't told you guys about that. So, um, in my family, it's just expected that a woman would get married, and that meant that if a woman got into a relationship, you know the woman would keep that relationship in its entirety, and there are a lot of women in my family that have done that, you know, and they stopped growing when they, once they got in a relationship, when they got married, they stopped growing. They had children, many of them, and stuff. And I would say also on my dad's side as well, because I've been spending time with my dad's side of the family. They are still my family. So their belief is about marriage. That's the goal too. So on both sides of my family, it's about marriage. And once you get in that relationship, then you need to have kids and stuff. But nobody, I notice, like I notice on either side, you know, it's not really about growth or anything like that, and I don't see that very much, where people are, growing beyond, like women in particular, growing beyond, those, those stereotypes of what women are supposed to do, get married and have kids, you know, like I would tell you honestly, like if I were to tell people in my family that, I was doing pole dancing, they probably would lose it. Because they literally would, because they would think, oh my gosh, Now I told my brother I do pole dancing and stuff. I told him, and I told my sister, but outside of that, I haven't told anybody else, that I do that. And the reason is because for women in the family, they're not really into, they're not really expected to do much than, you know, get married, have kids. That's pretty much it. Once a woman has had a kid, then it's like that's pretty much all women can really talk about is, they can talk about marriage, they can talk about kids, but there's not much outside of that. I do have an aunt that I have a couple of aunts that never had children or anything. One of them, my aunt on my dad's side, she never got married or anything. She never had children. And then I have an aunt on my mother's side. She got married, but she didn't have kids, and I don't know why. But I see value, and I see value in I see value in, like, yes, there's a value in marriage, and I see value in not being married, and I see a value in not having kids and having kids. Like I see that value, um and so, like, but my thing is that growth, you know like, I feel like people stop growing, like in my family. Like, there are people, like, I'll say there's one of my cousins. So I have a cousin, um and she doesn't have kids. She's never been married, but she has followed a passion that she has. So I have a cousin who is she is a professional dancer. So she has danced on Broadway, pretty big, right? So my cousin has danced on Broadway. She hasn't had any kids or anything like that. She's danced in a variety of shows, and everything, traveled around the world, all that. And she has been growing herself. Um, Other people in the family, not really so much. And the reason is, like, in my family, growth is not something that is really encouraged. Like my brother, for example, um, he has fulfilled like, he's actually got married or whatever. But I noticed from my brother, like, I noticed that he's kind of stuck where I was in the past. Because in the past, I wasn't growing. I, like, stopped growing. So my brother, for example, um, for him, he's into DJing, and I noticed that, like, my brother was into it and stuff and everything, and then he got married, and then he stopped, like, the whole DJ thing. And I was like, and I went over to my brother's house once, or I've been over there a couple times, a few times. And, I noticed that, like, after my brother got married, he just, like, literally stopped, like, going for stuff. And, like, he's been just putting himself in, like, he's involved in his marriage, but he's not going after the DJ thing anymore, you know? And I guess, like, maybe he feels like, maybe it's because he feels like, well, now that I'm married and I have this relationship, I don't have to grow anymore. um what I have to say is that I believe you need to grow whether you're in a relationship or not. Like, I feel like you have to have things that you like to do. Okay, now I understand where my brother is, because when I was in a relationship, I felt like I had to nurture, like, I felt like I had to be all about that relationship and nothing be outside, because everybody was like, oh, well, you're in a relationship and stuff and everything. And everybody would talk about, my significant other and stuff and things. And so I thought, oh, okay, so I'm just supposed to be working towards, marriage and stuff. And I think that maybe that aspect of, marriage, that the expectation of my family, it probably maybe got me the idea of that. Okay, now that I'm in this relationship and stuff, okay, I gotta be getting married, because there are other girls in my family getting married, and stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay. Now, I did force the thing about getting married. I did. I'm like, hey, if you don't marry me, somebody else will. And of course, I've never publicly said that, but I think that it was because there was, pressure, in my family. Like when I go to family gatherings, people would talk about, like when I go with me and my boyfriend at the time, they would be like, well, he was my fiance at the time. They would be like, oh, well, it's simple to get married. You just go to the courthouse, spend $50 or whatever. And I'm just like, but they didn't ask me about other things I was doing, and take an interest in me that way. But I tell you guys, please, please, please grow. Please, please, please grow. I'm going to tell you why. The reason that you want to grow, here's why you want to grow. The reason you want to grow is because growth is not just for the plants outside, okay? It's not just for the trees and the flowers and bushes and different things like that. Growth is for you too. And the reason why growth is so important, because when we grow, it allows us to be able to learn things about ourselves and push ourselves to new heights and do things. Okay. And for me, I have been growing through the hobbies that I have. You know, I've noticed this in chair dancing. My first chair dancing class, like I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to do it. By the end of that class, I had learned a whole chair dancing routine and I was able to do it. Before, when I walked into class, I didn't think I could do it. When I was leaving the class, I had done it, you know? And so I believe I still have the recordings of that too. Um, but that's the thing, when you try something new, when you try something new and you able to do it, that's amazing. That is cool, that's some good stuff right there, you know. And as I've been taking chair dancing and learning routines, I've noticed that, yeah, there's some weaknesses I have in class. I noticed I'm not an advanced level person. That's all right. The class is for people from beginner all the way to advanced, you know. But the thing is, I've noticed that I've been able to keep up with girls that are more advanced than me, you know. And I've got to say, I've been in at least by now, at least like 10 chair dancing classes. And I love it. I love it. And I'm grateful it's going to continue because I love doing chair dancing on Fridays. It's my thing, you know? And so, guys, I can't say enough that as you do a hobby, you're going to learn things about yourself that, you're going to learn things about yourself that you never knew about yourself. You're going to learn that you like things that you never thought you did, but it starts with taking a chance. That's what it starts with, taking an actual chance, you know? That's how it starts, you know? If you're too afraid to do something, you're never going to get there, you know? Never, you know? Pole dancing. Years ago, I was telling my boyfriend at the time, I said, I want to try pole dancing. And I wanted to try it out. But you know what? I didn't do it because I was afraid. Because I didn't feel like I had the money. Because I didn't feel like I had the time. Man, I wish back then, I wish I would have tried it out. I wish I would have. Because now I've been doing pole dancing for about a little over a year, I'm going to say. And I like it. I like pole dancing because it's allowing me to grow. It's allowing me to see my body in a new way, to see strength in my body in a new way. It's allowing me to actually see myself dance, see myself be graceful and beautiful. And when I say beautiful, beautiful is not like I have to be glamorous or anything. That's not what it's about. Beautiful to me is about me seeing myself evolve and change and be able to appreciate my body for what it can do and appreciate experiences for what they can do. Okay? That's what it's about. Pole dancing, I get to learn moves and practice and see myself get better and better and better at it. And sometimes there's stuff I'm not going to be able to do. Oh, well, hey, I'll just try it again later, you know? And yoga. I've recently been doing yoga. And with me doing yoga, guys, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get through the first video of the yoga that I was watching. But do you know what? I tried it and I was able to do it. You know, same thing with working out. Um, I was doing working out, which I should get back into doing because I wanna be doing like working out and doing yoga. So I'm gonna see if I can do that today. So I'm gonna try that out to build more strength for pole dancing and also chair dancing. Um, but yeah, you know, working out. I wasn't sure that I could do this or that. Guess what? I am able to, I was able to make it through that workout. You know, now I still have weaknesses with working out, but that's okay. That is completely all right. But it is the journey that is the most important thing. It is the journey. That's what makes the difference. If you have a hobby and you can get better and better and better and better in something, that's what makes the damn difference. Not if you win at it or not. It's about seeing yourself progress. And a long time ago, I wish I would have gotten into hobbies because at that time, I think it would have benefited me and I would have started to see things. But maybe I wasn't in a position in life to do that. Now I am. And I'm embracing the hell out of it because I feel like it just opens more doors. We're more than just people who go to work and punch a damn clock. There's more to us than that. And it's easy at work to get sucked in. Like I found myself, several times at work, just going to work, punching the clock, putting off hobbies. But you know what? We're more than work. Sometimes at work you probably don't feel like, oh, I'm just here punching the clock. But it's about having something outside of work to do to be more you. That's what it's about. You know, that is definitely what it's more about. You know, if you're in a relationship and you focusing on all that, you might find yourself getting pissed off and mad. I was. But the thing was, I was stunting my own growth. I wasn't letting myself grow and breathe and be, you know, and learn more. I was falling for what women in my family did, you know, by maintaining that relationship, but not be as much of maintaining myself and being in touch with myself. Okay. So growth is important. Don't just define yourself by a relationship because there's got to be a you outside the relationship because the reason is because what if you cease to have that relationship? What part of yourself will you have? And I think that's what a lot of people find themselves doing. you know but the thing is, whether you're in a relationship or not, the value of having hobbies is that you're not just depending on your partner just to fulfill you or entertain you. You have ways to love and fulfill yourself and grow yourself. And you have that, and you need those relationships. Like you need those conversations and good feelings and growth out, like when you're in it, that's outside your relationship, because that helps you be more peaceful and calm. you know and it can help you argue less because you actually out doing things you want to do. And I know it's tough. I know it's tough to be like, man, should I really be doing this if you see family members not doing it? But it's okay to grow. All right, everyone. Thank you for popping in and seeing me. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.